All right, and we are now recording. Um, so again, we ask that you remain muted throughout the presentation just so that the recording only shows the presentation for today. So hello, good morning, everybody. I am Arlene Pimentel. If you do not know me, I am the district-wide family engagement facilitator. And today, this is our fifth parent seminar. We will be discussing all the testing that we do throughout the district, and how we read those results and how it can help us and help you as parents at home. And today with us, we have Dr. Lindsay Stock. Hello, Dr. Stock. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
And Dr. Stock is our Director of Curriculum and Instruction. She will be giving the presentation today. But before we get started, I do want to remind you, and you're all doing a fantastic job, you want to remain muted while the presentation is happening. If you have any questions, we do have the chat where you can write in any comments or questions so that you don't forget. And we have our district team that will be there to answer any questions. And at the end of the presentation, you will have the opportunity for further questions where you will be able to ask them yourself. So I do want to introduce some of our RSD team that's on the call. Angelina Gonzalez Collar. Hello, good morning, Angelina.
Good morning. Thank you for having me and welcome to all our parents.
We also have Dolca Ramos on the line.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
And we have Iniabel Ruiz.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.
And for those of you who don't know, Iniabel is our family engagement facilitator for the high school. So I am for K through 8, and Iniabel works with our family at the high school level. So just want to make sure that everybody knew that. So I'm gonna skip through these slides because we're already almost done with the school year, and you all know how to do this. But again, just remember to keep muted as we go through the presentation. The parent seminars, as you know, was created this year due to the responses that we received from parents in our parent training needs surveys that we do every year at the beginning of the school year. These seminars, we use them to discuss different topics. They're more of informational sessions for our families and also a way to connect with the district and provide resources for our families. So every month we have had a different topic. This month, as you know, is our testing. We are doing a lot of testing now that we are done with nearing the end of the school year, but we all have also been doing testing throughout. And Dr. Stock's going to talk all about that. But we do have our final parent seminar session that's coming up May 6th. It is virtual. You will receive a call and a text message like you received for this meeting. And that will be about our summer resources. So what can you expect? Where can you find resources, programs, events for your children? And we will talk about all of that during our May session, May 6th, okay? And as a reminder, you can see all of the previous seminars on our YouTube page. So if you go to YouTube and type in Reading School District, it will open our page, and one of the playlists is actually for all the parent seminars. So you can see all of the previous topics that we have discussed right on our YouTube page. And as I was saying, we have a lot of testing that goes on during the school year. We have all these different types of testing: Acadians, iReady, Linkit, WIDA Access, PSSA, state testing, and Keystone state testing. And this is kind of a breakdown of our agenda for today. Dr. Stock is going to talk about each one of these different testing, but this is a list of everything that we're doing. And it's super important to go through it right now because our students are going to on vacation next week. But when they come back, we will be starting those state testing with the PSSA and Keystones. So make sure that you note the dates for those. We will be going over them in the presentation. And now I will pass it off to Dr. Stock to talk about each one of those.
Thank you so much. So good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here today to talk through with you the different types of assessments that we utilize here in RSD and their purposes and really how that information is helpful for you with your student. So why is testing important? So testing really gives us a really clear picture of where our students are in their academic journey. So it allows us to drill down into very specific individualized needs for our students, as well as areas that our students are really excelling in, so that we can continue to push them to excel in their academic journey. So this is something that we endeavor to do in a systematic way that's very intentional. We choose the times of the year that we assess students so that it informs both our instruction as well as our intervention. And those are two different things. So it really helps us to know where our students are at any given time throughout the year, and then also to prepare them for the state assessments that occur every spring. So it gives us information about where we can support students, where students can set goals, where families can work with their student to set goals, to make sure they're checking in to see how that progress is going. And then it also helps us as a district to check in to see how we're doing, how our instructional practices are being effective or not, where we need to course correct, if our instructional materials are effective or not, and then what it is that we need to do for planning moving forward. So the first assessment that we're going to share with you today speaks to really our littlest red knights, and this is something called Acadience. So this is an assessment that if you have been in the education field, you may have remembered being called something called DIBELS. It's kind of the gold standard of literacy assessment in the education world. So almost every school district in the country utilizes Acadience data to really help us to understand where students are on their journey to becoming proficient readers. So Acadience here in RSD is used for every student in grades K through 2. This is a part of our fall assessment window, which happens as soon as students arrive back in school in September. We also provide Acadience in January and then also in the spring. So basically what this is a quick set of simple tests that help our teachers to check to see how our students are doing in key areas of reading and early literacy. So it gives us information about the building blocks that help students become really strong, confident readers. The assessment's designed to be short, it's focused, it's actually done one-on-one, so it does take some time for us to do it, but it gives us such clear information about our students on their journey towards becoming readers that it is absolutely worth our time. So it's kind of like a checkup. It lets us know how students are doing as they're becoming readers, and then ultimately our teachers are able to make instructional decisions to meet students where they are. If possible, student data tells us, okay, we're missing some skills in this area, so the next couple of weeks we're going to pull students into small group, give them reteaching of those types of skills, and then make sure that we're giving students what they need to continue on their journey to be successful readers. The other thing about Acadience is we also provide this assessment for any student in grades 3 through 6 who do not benchmark at grade level on the Linkit assessment, which I'll explain in a couple of minutes. So we give this to every kid in K2, every student in 3 through 6 that we give the Linkit reading test to. If they do not score as being on grade level, we also give this Acadience assessment too, so that we can get that specific data as to why the student isn't reaching grade level mastery. We also give schools the option, if they would prefer, to give every student in K through 4 the Acadience assessment, regardless of benchmark on grade level. Some schools really like that information for all of their students, just to help to inform their intervention groups. The next piece that we're going to talk about is a little bit in regards to math. So in the Reading School District, we have probably the gold standard, one of the most effective and robust math resources that you can have in education. It's something called iReady. We are in year 3 of implementation of iReady, so we made this switch a couple of years ago. This is our core math instructional resource. And so basically students in grades K through 8 learn through the iReady resource, but our teachers implement the curriculum that we have written as the district. So this is the assessment for math that we use in grades K through 8. Every student receives an iReady diagnostic at the beginning of the year, similar to the literacy piece. It tells us exactly where students are on their pathway to reach grade level mastery, which ultimately is really what we want. And just a moment to speak about what is grade level mastery. So basically what that means is for every single grade level in a public school, and this is all across the country and also in Pennsylvania, there are standards that are designed and developed by folks that are educators, folks that are in the higher ed world, folks that are in the business world, that gives us information about where students should be along their journey towards having the skills they need to be successful in life. So when we are teaching, we have goalposts that we're trying to hit. Similar when you have a baby and your baby is reaching those developmental milestones that you're looking for when they're crawling, when they're walking, when they're starting to speak, etc. Same thing happens in school. So we know that a student in 3rd grade should be at a certain level of skill readiness when they are in 3rd grade halfway through the school year. So both our Acadians assessment and our iReady assessment lets us know where our students are in that journey. The thing that's really great about iReady is that it has kind of a dual approach for all students. Our teachers are able to get really specific information about every single student that's sitting in front of them, and then to design their instruction to meet the needs of those students in a small group. And then students are also able to utilize something called My Path. You may have seen this, kids bring it home because they actually enjoy doing it. And they come into the computer and they do My Path, which is specific to their pathway. So the system from the diagnostic assessment puts students in a pathway, and then students are assigned lessons that are rather engaging and get them excited about math so that they continue to grow in their journey. So this is something that we do across the board K-8. For high school, we don't utilize iReady. iReady is a K through 8 resource for us. We use other resources such as Reveal, which again is a gold standard resource. We're really proud to have that here. But we use our Linkit benchmark assessment for math. So every student is benchmarked 3 times a year to let us know how they're doing in their progress towards grade level standard achievement in grades 9 through 12. And then teachers are able to utilize that information to tailor their assessment to meet the needs of all of our students. And you may have noticed that this year you probably have received 2, if not 3 letters from us at this point talking about these benchmark assessments that we are giving. So this year in the Reading School District, for the first time, we have a benchmarking system called Linkit that provides us again with that drill down data on grade level achievement and progress for our students. So in the fall in September, in January, and then we just did so K-8 and ELA in March, our students all took the Linkit benchmark assessment. Once the students took that assessment, every single family was provided a letter that let them know where their student is in their progress on those benchmark assessments. Basically, what we're hoping families will do is take a look at that letter, talk with their student about where they're at and their progress towards grade level benchmarking, and to say, hey, let's make sure that we're continuing to focus our efforts on these particular skills. So it drills down for us to let us know maybe we need a little work in context clues. Maybe we need to continue to read more and more at home because it helps to build our vocabulary. But it's really a way for us to partner with parents to keep the transparency open so that all families are aware of where their students are on that journey towards grade level mastery of the standards. So we're really excited to have this opportunity to share with parents, and we continue to look towards transparency and keeping parents as much in the loop, families as much in the loop as possible along their child's academic journey. So you will receive that letter continuing next year and in the future so that you're able to see beyond just, at conference time or maybe checking into the eSchool grade portal to know really where your child is at in their progress academically. So we're really excited that all of our schools, all 20 of them, are participating in this initiative. The next thing that we're going to talk about is state testing, right? So this is something that all school districts in the state of Pennsylvania have to participate in. And, you know, it's one of those things that does happen to us, but I will say the thing that's really good about PDE and what's happened over the years recently, at least, is that the PSSA assessment, as well as the Keystone, which I'll talk about in a minute, has really improved. So the state did a really, really good job of making this an actually good test. So I don't mind giving students a test if it's a good one, right? So the annual assessment happens for our students in ELA math and science. It happens for all students in ELA math every single year in grades 3 through 8. And then science happens in grades 5 through 8. If you have been in schools for a while, you have kids that have gone through this before, you'll notice that science used to be 4 and 8, and now it is 5 and 8 because of the STEELS standards that have been released for science. So the schedule that you see on the screen is when these assessments are happening, and those assessments for PSSA are aligned to those state standards for grade levels that I explained earlier. So again, it's another way for us to see how are our students performing in their progress towards continuing to gather those skills that they need to be successful in life, because that's ultimately the goal. We want to graduate students from Reading High that are future ready, whatever that future looks like for them. So the PSSA is just another dipstick along the way to let us know how students are progressing along that journey. So every year you will receive the results that are shared with you. So this assessment happens in the spring of the school year. In the following approximately September, something will be sent home to you that is a kind of like a little packet. And the little packet goes over all of the results from your student. So we do encourage you to take a look at those results and have that conversation with your student. If your student is proficient or advanced, that's amazing. Let's celebrate that, because that's a really incredible accomplishment. Like I said, these tests are good and they're kind of hard. So if students are performing at grade level, we definitely want to celebrate that. If students aren't performing at grade level, we obviously know that immediately. We get those results first. And as soon as we do, we make sure that we develop our intervention groups based on those assessment results. So we're able to see, okay, we have this group of students that are struggling. Let's know specifically what it is that they're struggling on, and then let's intervene. We have purchased some of, again, the best interventions that we possibly can here in the Reading School District. We're really proud of that. Our teachers have been trained and will continue to be trained to implement those with integrity and fidelity to make sure that our kiddos are getting exactly what they need to close any potential achievement gaps. So when you get that packet, do take a look. It provides you with really specific information about where your child is falling on grade level, and it does explain to you what the different performance levels mean. So taking a look at that is a really helpful tool. Again, just drilling down, it shows you the student's score, their performance level. It actually gives you the number, which is helpful because sometimes we have students that are really, really close. They are within a few points of reaching proficiency. So when we know that if we push a little bit harder, that we're going to get that child to proficiency, which is a really exciting thing. And then it does provide you with a strength profile in each of the reporting categories. So whether or not your child made proficiency, and maybe they're what the state refers to as basic, that doesn't mean that they don't have strength in those areas. So this report really kind of gives you, all right, where are the areas of strength that still are able to be celebrated? So that's really helpful. And just so you understand, the state delineates these different reporting categories. So if a student is above grade level, they are labeled as advanced. If they're at grade level, they are labeled as proficient. If they are just below grade level, they are basic. And if they are reporting out a couple grade levels below, then they are listed as below basic. So again, how do these results help us? Our teachers and our administrative team and our data teams at each of our buildings look at these results very deeply. We receive them in an initial report from the summertime, and we're able to really drill down into the topics and themes that our students can work on in school. The same can be said for families at home. If you have a student, like I said earlier, that's struggling a little bit in the area of vocabulary, a really great thing that you can do is read to your child. Any opportunity to have a child be in a text is an awesome opportunity to build vocabulary. So these are also, kind of a measurement tool for us here in the district as well, to see how we're doing as compared to our neighbors, and then to compare to more like similar school districts. So school districts that have demographics that are similar to ours, et cetera, to see how we're performing. The next set of assessments to discuss are the Keystone exams. So Keystone exams are an end of course assessment in the courses of Algebra 1, Literature, and Biology. So they are designed to assess proficiency, very similar to PSSA. What the state has done, however, in the past couple of years, is that the Keystone exam is now a part of graduation requirements. So a student needs to take the exam, and the easiest pathway, let me put it that way, towards graduation is for students to pass the Keystone exam with proficiency. So they are in grades 8 through 12. That's actually new for us here in RSD this year. In previous years, we only gave the Keystone exam to students in those 3 courses in grades 9 through 12. But this year, we actually have brought Algebra 1 to all 5 of our middle schools, which is really exciting for students who are excelling in math. They're able to move ahead and take Algebra 1 in 8th grade. If students are successful in passing the Algebra 1 Keystone exam in 8th grade, then they're able to move right into geometry in 9th grade, which puts them on a pathway to get to calculus in a sooner fashion. So then they'll be able to take some other really cool math electives that we've also added at Reading High. So that's coming up for our 8th graders. They're enrolled in it now. We're seeing amazing growth in those students. Really exciting stuff. So similarly to PSSA, families will all receive in this fall a grade report or a performance report from the state. So again, it includes that student information. It talks about what content area that they're focusing on, the student results, and then it gives you a little bit of information about what the Keystone exam is. The other piece that's really important for families to see is you get to see the performance that your child did on that actual test, the student's score, really how close they were to meeting proficiency. So this is something that's helpful for you to have a conversation with your student about. Look how close you were, let's push a little bit harder. We can retake the Keystone exam, and I'll talk about that in a second, because like I said, PDE has made this a graduation requirement for students. Now, if a student doesn't pass the Keystone exam, does that mean that they are not able to graduate? No, that is not the case. There are multiple pathways that students can follow to get to graduation. Perhaps they go to CTC and they take the NOCTI exam. They may be able to do an evidence-based pathway where they are earning industry-based credentials as an example towards graduation. There's also a composite score pathway, which means that they may not have gotten proficiency on all 3 of their Keystone exams, but their scores from each of those exams was high enough to reach this composite or total score that allows them to qualify for graduation. So there's multiple pathways. In fact, there's 5 of them that allows a student to graduate from Reading High School. And this is all high schools across the state of Pennsylvania. There is a lot of information about pathways to graduation on our Reading High School website. So if you have some questions about that, I can certainly answer them, or there's definitely a bunch of information on the Reading High website. The other thing that I want to mention too, it's a similar leveling descriptor for the Keystone exams: advanced, proficient, basic, and below basic. And then the report will give you a really nice overview of where your child landed, or your student landed. So again, how do the results from the Keystone exam help us? Well, it is the easiest way to get to graduation, because as soon as you reach proficiency on all 3 of those exams, boom, you're ready to go. And as long as you get the rest of your credits and you pass your classes at Reading High, you are able to graduate. It does show us too how your student is doing in school, how they are progressing, because again, the Keystone exam is aligned to those grade level standards. So it lets us know in the path to getting those skills that they need to be successful in life, whatever that path looks like after they graduate. This is how well they are doing in gathering all those skills. It helps our teachers to plan really good lessons. It allows us to really focus on what are the skill gaps universally, maybe in a grade level or in a class. And then we can drill down into reteaching some of those skills that might be missing. At Reading High, if you have a student there, I'm sure you are aware that we have moved into an intervention approach where we're able twice a week to provide intervention for our students who may have gaps in ELA or math skills. We have purchased some incredible intervention resources to allow us to do that. And we are really making sure that we are closing the gaps for our students. It allows us to set goals with your student, and it allows you to check in on those goals as well. How are things going? And it allows us to make sure that we're continuously improving here in RSD to make sure our programming is the best that it can be. So again, as I mentioned earlier, for students who do not pass the Keystone exam, that does not mean they cannot graduate from Reading High, but they will have an opportunity to retake the Keystone. In fact, we are retesting all students a second time who are close to passing. So that is not just a wing and a prayer. We are actually putting students into a course during Armor Block with a certified teacher in that course, utilizing a resource called IXL for Math and Biology and Lexia for Literacy. They are gold standard interventions where the teachers are able to reteach some of those topics that the student might have some deficits in, and giving them the best possible opportunity to pass the Keystone exam so that they have the easiest pathway to graduation in terms of the Keystone exam piece. So the next assessment that we are going to talk about is the WIDA assessment. This is an assessment that we give every year in a window between January and February. This is for our L students, so our students who are learning a second language or multiple languages, and it measures academics skill in English language. So it helps us to determine which English language supports to offer our students. It helps us to determine which teaching methods are best to meet the needs of that particular student. And it helps our students to really demonstrate their proficiency in gathering English as an additional language to their home language. The other thing that we wanted to share with you that's really exciting, that's coming soon, is all of the things that we're discussing with assessment do not live in a silo. Everything that we do to prepare for assessments, but really to more than importantly, prepare students for life beyond school, is our curriculum and instruction here in RSD. So it's the path, it's the journey that our students are on. It's those academic skills, it's that context for the world, it's that empathy for other people, it's learning about ourselves and our heritage, and all of that comes in alignment with our curriculum that we implement here in RSD. So if you go to our RSD website right now and you go to teaching and learning, there is very, very little information, if any, about our curriculum. We are changing all of that. So we are very, very excited. And I know we've shared in the past at some quadrant parent meetings, and we will continue to roll this out to the larger community, that we are bringing a new curriculum website this spring called EduPlanet to the Reading School District. So what is that going to do for families? It's going to give you a pre-K to 12 blueprint of everything your child will learn in every class they ever take at RSD. It is going to be a beautiful site that is accessible right from our RSD website that allows parents to know, like I said, at every moment what it is that their child is learning about. It is going to be developed in student-friendly language so your student can engage with it as well. They'll know, what am I going to learn in 4th grade math? What am I going to learn in biology? What am I going to learn in 8th grade social studies? So it makes it meaningful and relevant for our students. And it includes these absolutely beautiful photographs of our beautiful students and all the incredible things they do here on an everyday basis. And in fact, you'll notice that the photographs that are being included are actually photographs that our students at Reading High School took as a part of yearbook and photography classes. So it's a really cool project that we are working on together as teachers, as students, and as administrators to make the curriculum come alive for our families, so that you don't have to go searching to figure out what it is that your child is doing every day in school in the 8 hours that we get to have them. So we are super excited about this, and I love your reactions. Thank you. That's how I feel. I'm incredibly excited about this. And we are incredibly excited to roll this out. As soon as we have it in a place where we feel like it's ready for people to view, we will roll this out to all of the community so that you can take a look and see what is happening with all of our curriculum coming up here in RSD. So very exciting things to share with all of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stock. That is so much information for our families, and it's so important for us because, again, this is a great way for us to be able to support our students and work together. We need to make sure that everyone is on the same page so that parents can help support their students at home while we do the same in the building, in the school building. So thank you.
Yep.
I do want to just remind everybody before we end the recording. One, we have our Title I Parent Resource Center forms at each of our buildings. This is a state resource that we have where you can pick up to 10 of the booklets. It gives great information for families, and the state will send it directly to your home. So it's really great. If you haven't already done so, you can ask one of your parent outreach assistants in the building or someone in the office, and you can just fill it out, send it back to the school, and we will make sure to get it over to the state advisory committee so that they can send you over those resources. Also, I want to remind you all that next week is spring break. There is no school, and we will return Tuesday, April 22nd, where we will start the PSSA testing for our students in 3rd through 8. But we also have our quadrant meetings coming up next month. It's the final one for this school year. If you're interested in joining those meetings, please let me know or let your building principal know, and they will put you on the list. And finally, our final school day will be June 9th. So make sure you're planning for your summer. Make sure you join us on May 6th for our final parent seminar, where we will be discussing some of those summer resources. So this is my contact information. Thank you all so much. Before I end the recording, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. And now I will be ending the recording so that we can ask some questions. Thank you.